All right. Good morning, dear ones. We are SOTU, and this is SOTUESDAY for March the 14th, 2017. And um, there will be a no presentation of conversations for this week, although we are in the studio again, I believe, next Tuesday. And so we will late Tuesday or Wednesday be presenting the next conversations with SOTU, which will continue the discussion along the battle of the sexes and go into more detail of how that dynamic occurred and is reflecting in the dynamics of your reality, which is partly what we wish to speak to you about today. And in the title of our, what shall we say, title of this video, you mean the reflections of my life actually mean something? Of course, you understand that the answer is yes. They actually do mean something. And everything from the dynamics of the bigger reflections of your consensus reality, which is this whole dynamic between certain factions, what shall we say, of what is now being called the shadow government or the hidden government in the United States, is certainly a reflection of the inner dynamic that is going on within all of you. Or is that reflection a reflection of the dynamic of what is occurring to you? So, in other words, what came first, the chicken or the egg, in this sort of dynamic, in this sort of understanding? And understand, when we use the word dynamic, what we are speaking of is a signature, a signature of energy that can be identified. And so there are many of those things, many of those dynamics. And so we wish you to understand that the language that we use in this does describe each time a certain signature of energy. And if it is a certain signature of energy, then it is a certain, what shall we say, conscious or semi-conscious or subconscious reflection of belief. Because understand that while you do create your reality 100%, if you do not understand that, then in fact you don't. So what is going on in your world right now? There has been such a dynamic of cacophony, there has been such a dynamic of chaos that has been going on in your world that it is very hard to make sense of it. And yet we would suggest to you, if you can discern the dynamics of your personal reality, your personal connection with the divine, your personal reflection of soul, because understand that is what each of you are experiencing, your own personal reflection of your personal communication with your soul. Your soul is the piece of you that gives you the opportunity, listen to us now, that gives you the opportunities necessary to have the experience you have chosen to have in order to grow where you wish to grow to. Now, because you have forgotten that dynamic and because you are not taught that that is the dynamic of reality, so many of you spend your time kicking and screaming and longing after, what shall we say, tilting at windmills, where the dynamics of your reality, even though they have the desire that something always gets in the way. Well, something usually gets in the way because you are avoiding or you are abdicating responsibility along the dynamics of a certain aspect of your life. Now, if your soul cannot speak to you on the personal level, it will speak to you with the dynamics of the reflection. And let us say that you have a certain issue that you have dealt with your whole life. For many of you, it is the dynamic of love and understanding and accepting love and giving and receiving love in the same moment, because that is the dynamic of how it was intended to be. And so if you understand that you came in your personal reality to learn about love, then generally speaking, we would suggest to you that you are not going to give yourself loving parents or loving siblings, or you're going to have a situation where you're going to just learn about love, and that love is going to be taken away from you so that you emotionally crash and burn. Why? Well, in that dynamic, if love was just a given, what would you really learn about it? But if you had to overcome certain obstacles that you set in your way, and those obstacles are ultimately emotional. If you are willing to deal with those emotional obstacles, if you are willing to look at them in the face, if you are willing to understand them and not make the knee-jerk reaction, but make an assessment of your reality, and then make a decision based upon what will be the most loving choice for you, dear ones. And usually, the most loving choice for you is also the most loving choice for those you are connected with and those that you love. It begins a dynamic of emotional communication that can begin to create a dynamic of safety, even in the midst of all of this dynamic of chaos. So pay attention, dear ones. Pay attention to the things that occur in your life. If you wake up to the radio, or if you wake up with a song in your head, pay attention to it. Don't put all the weight of all of your day upon that dynamic. But if you set your intent to begin to see the communication, if you begin to see the reflections of your soul, you can respond to those reflections so that you do not have to get hit between the eyes with the proverbial baseball bat in order to get your attention. All disease is the result of unresolved emotional dynamics. And when you deal with those emotional dynamics, then the disease does not become necessary. When you deal with the dynamics that emotionally have stood in your way, and dear ones, that's easy to find. What's the one thing or the number of things that you have always longed for and yet you have never been able to achieve? Through feelings of personal inadequacy. Understand that those are the things that you came here to face personally. And when you begin to face them on a personal basis, you also begin to understand that there is an aspect of reality that is also speaking to the consensus. We have said often, certainly over the past year on these videos, that you are being asked to identify yourselves. You are being asked to be more. You are being asked, not from us, not from your soul, but through the dynamic of your choice, to be incarnated in a physical body at this very important time in human transformation. So, pay attention. Walking down the street, if you hear a snatch of conversation, how does it relate to you? When you get in your vehicle, what's the first song or the first thing that you hear on the radio? Begin to pay attention to those things. Begin to look for the synchronicities. And pretty soon you will see them happening in twos and in threes and more. If you begin to pay attention to them, we would suggest to you that your lives, both personally and collectively, will become better. So we hope that this has perhaps in some ways accentuated the positive and allowed you to have an understanding, a deeper understanding of how you create your reality and how there really is help available to you. The divine really is speaking to you, well, through the aspect of your soul. So if you begin to pay attention, your soul will begin to pay more attention to you. And instead of pulling the rug out from under you, instead of really pulling the rug out from under you in order to get your attention, perhaps a simple reflective tap on the shoulder will do. We love you all so very, very much. It has been a great joy to us to communicate this information to you today. We love you all so very, very much. This has been So Tuesday for March the 14th, 2017. And so until the next time we close, sending you peace, sending you happiness, sending you joy.